Good morning, everyone. Friends, as part of MSBI Demo Day 1, yesterday we discussed something about what is business intelligence, what exactly you want to achieve with that, what is the outcome of the business intelligence, and then all MSBI tools. And also, we have seen other ETL come reporting come analytical tools available in the market, which are tough competition for MSBI. Even though we have these many tools available in the market, right? Why should I go ahead and set my roadmap towards business intelligence? Simply why MSBI, right? We explained with a simple example and duration and alternative duration, like it's like a fast track. So these are all the things that we discussed in our last session. Now today, I'm going ahead and explain about the SSIS architecture. So friends, MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence. So first one is SSIS. SSIS is full form is SQL Server Data Integration. The purpose of this particular tool is right data from data integration activities or else ETL activities. Okay. SSRS, SQL Server, reporting services. The purpose of this particular tool is to generate reports like data visualization, SSAS, SQL Server, analysis services. It's not like analytical services. This is for our data analysis by using multi-dimensional model, multi-dimensional or tabular model. Yes, I have added little more masala over here, right? Yes. And these tools are from SQL Server. So when you install SQL Server, you will be getting MSBI tools for free of cost. You don't require to spend extra money for that particular tool. Okay, that's what we have discussed yesterday. So as part of today's session, I'm going ahead and concentrate on this one. SSIS architecture. As part of this, I'm going to cover core components of SSIS. Core components of SSIS. What are the core components? Listen, guys, it's really important. Okay. Core components of SSIS. Number one, SSIS runtime engine. And second one is a data flow pipeline engine. I'll share these running notes as well with you guys. Right. So we are going to focus on SSIS architecture. As part of SSIS architecture, we're primarily focusing on two major components. One is SSIS runtime engine and data flow pipeline engine. Right. So before we have a deep dive into these two engines, I need to explain some surroundings. Some surroundings. What do you mean by surroundings? We need to discuss versions of SQL Server that internally covers versions of MSBI. Okay, versions of MSBI. What are the versions? So SQL Server 2000. Here we use it to call it as DTS packages, and the extension was .dts file extension. DTS full form is Data Transformation Services. But starting from SQL Server 2005, right, we have total MSBI stack. along with the SSIS. And here, the file extension has been started with the data transformation services extension. Data transformation services extension. Okay. So here we have 2008 R2, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19, 22. Okay, fine. 19. Right. So 8 R2 release 2 version. And this is 12, 14, 16, 17, and then 19. So actually, actually, ETL, basic ETL operations has started from SQL Server 2000 version, where we used to follow very basic ETL operations where with the file extension called DTS. DTS full form is Data Transformation Services, a service that transforms the business data. A service that transforms the business data. Starting from 2005, the total MSBI stack was out from Microsoft. We call it as total MSBI stack. It includes SSIS. So in 2005, the extension is DTSX, Data Transformation Services. X means extension of the old version. Extension of the old version. So that means just like XLS. XLS means Excel 97 to 2003 version. And this is Excel 2003 onwards. 2003 onwards. Are we good now? So this is extension of the previous version. So in SSIS, the file extension is .dtsx. Are you clear on this point, or else do you have any questions, guys? Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions?
No, sir, no.
Okay, next one. Friends, where do we write C sharp coding? Where do we write C sharp coding? Visual Studio. Right. Where do we write SQL coding? SQL Server Management Studio. Simply, we call it as SSMS. Where do you write Java code? Eclipse. Where do we write, MSBI code then? SQL Server Data Tools, SDT, which is a built-in component or plugin of Visual Studio. Because, sir, I'm going to open this SSDT. See, what are these things, guys? These are all IDs. IDs. IDs for various eh, programming languages. Programming languages and our tools. IDE. IDE full form Integrated Development Environments. So what is the IDE for C Sharp? Visual Studio. What is the IDE for MSBI? SQL Server Data Tools, SSDT, which is a built-in component or plugin of our Visual Studio. So I'm going to open it now. This is Visual Studio 2017. Yes, open it. Observe here, friends. Go to File, New Project. Simply create a new project. Anything is fine. So, since we have already opened it, I'm just going ahead with this project. Now see, sir, yesterday we were discussing about all three MSBI tools, right? So, business intelligence tools from Microsoft. First one is integration services. Integration services, what it does, see, it performs data integration activities along with the ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading ETL operations for our data warehousing system. If you remember, that is what exactly we discussed. So, what is the second tool? SSRS. This is for our report generation purpose. And then SSAS, where you can see two models. One is a multidimensional model and a tabular model. If you remember, SSIS for data integration and ETL activities, SSRS is for data visualization, SSAS is for data analysis by using multidimensional or tabular models. Tabular models. Are we good, guys? You can unmute yourself and then talk to me. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right then. So now, what is this one? We have given the background. Now I'm going ahead with this one. See, currently we are focusing on this one. Let me close this, open it again, file new project. So friend, you are trying to create a new project. What kind of project it should be? Integration services project. You can ask me a question. Hey Balaji, what are these two rest of the other two projects? Integration services project. This is Azure enabled. This is for our ADF, Azure Data Factory. And this is on-premise only using import wizard. We never use it. So we go with this option to create the SSIS packages, ETL workflows on-premise. And we go with this option to create the ETL workflows on cloud. We never go with this option. Never means never. So since we are focusing on-premise, let me select this. So my project name is SSIS underscore morning 7 a.m. underscore April 13th. That's my project name. What type of project you are trying to create? Integration services project. Create it now. Right. Sir, what is the file name here? Package. What is the file extension? DTSX. That's what we covered over here. Starting from 2005, in SSIS file extension is .dtsx. .dtsx. Right. Sir, what is the file name here? Package. Sir, I want to go for a package, tourism package. Right. My journey starts from Hyderabad, Hyderabad to Chennai, Chennai to Coimbatore, Coimbatore to Kodaikanal, Kodaikanal to Ooty, Ooty to Bangalore, Bangalore to Mysore, Mysore to Bangalore, Bangalore to Hyderabad again. It's like a circular journey. So you go for a package. So you will get all these things in less amount. So package includes multiple locations. Each location has its own significance. In the same way, my package is having different tabs. Each tab has its own significance. Currently, where are we now? Currently, where are we now? In which tab? Control flow. Right. Now go back. Sir, SSIS runtime engine handles all the activities of control flow and event handles of a package. Control flow and event handlers of a package. For example, you are in control flow. Now I move to data flow and I navigated to parameters. Now I'm in event handler and go to package explorer. So if I am in control flow, you can see different types of tasks. I can see the same content even if I navigate to event handlers. So SSIS runtime engine is the core engine which handles all the activities of our control flow and event handlers. Control flow and event handlers. Are you clear on this point? You got the reason why I have been waiting for this particular explanation? What is the point of giving the total background and all? Yes, for this particular purpose. So SSIS runtime engine handles all the activities of both control flow and event handlers of VRS, handlers of SSIS package, right? Yeah. So what is the content of the control flow? What it contains? Tasks and containers. What do you mean by task over here, sir? Task means having T is a task. Having T is a task in a 24 hours of a time, right? So, and having lunch is a task in a 24 hours of a time. So we do so many activities, so many tasks in a 24 hours of a time. In the same way, sorry, guys. Yeah, in the same way, a a package contains control flow. Control flow can contain multiple number of tasks. For example, I want to execute a SQL command, execute SQL task. You simply drag and drop it, and then you need to configure it, right? Right? Yeah. I want to execute bulk operations, bulk insert task. I want to perform file operations, file system task. I want to execute a batch file using SSIS, execute process task. So I want to go with a few XML operations. I want to go send a mail to my business users, send mail task. Every task has its own significance. Every task has its own significance. Along with the tasks, we have containers. For example, so let me write the content of this. One is task and container. Task means a unit of work which can be executed, as an individual or or as part of the package. Right. And containers. Containers. What do you mean by containers? Let me talk about this. Right. For I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I is equal to I plus 1. So here, sir, yeah, sir, tell me, here, here we have in, okay, outside, okay, outside int a is equal to 0, and then int a is equal to a plus I print a. Now tell me, sir, what is this one? Guys, what is this? What is this?
It prints sequence of numbers in increasing order. Sir.
No, 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 totally. What we call it as
Iteration for loop.
for loop. It is like a container which contains different types of activities. So here, this is one task and this is another task. Related tasks will be grouped together as a container. In the same way, for loop container, which is very much similar to our general programming language, similar to for loop programming language. So if you go to here, right, data flow task, and then come on, yeah, execute SQL task, all these things. Related tasks can be grouped together as a container. This is like a container. Okay. You can have multiple number of containers. You can have multiple number of containers in a single package. Multiple number of containers in a single package. And you can have container within a container. Just like for loop within a for loop. That works. So the purpose of the container is to divide the control flow functionality into to divide the control flow functionality into multiple blocks. Each block has its own functionality. So I'm going to mention that. To divide control flow functionality into multiple discrete segments. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions?
No.
Right. Hey, feeling bored or something? Somehow one guy has dropped off. Okay, that's fine. Feeling bored? Harika, Amrita, Nikhil, and
Not bored, sir. It's little bit confusing. First time.
Arey yaar, I'm explaining in both the things actually, environment and then theory part. What makes you confused, Amrita? Tell
uh,
me that.
Contain that control flow. Uh, I understood that it's kind of dashboard
No, it's not a dashboard. It's not a dashboard.
where we can see these all the containers.
No, it's not a dashboard here. Yeah, it is the start entry point, package execution entry point. This is our first entry point. When I execute the package, your package always execution starts from control. I'll explain you that. I'm trying to explain point by point actually. It is not yet done, right? Okay, control flow means it is an environment, it's some platform where you can add the tasks and the containers on it. Simply as of now. Any questions on this particular point? Hima,
No.
Amrita? No, right? So now let me take you guys to the next level. What is the difference between control flow and data flow? What is the relationship between these two? I'll explain all these things. Then you will be having a more clear idea. Right. Emma, Amrita?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now, now, sir, listen now. Listen. So we are done with the control flow. Control flow contains only two types of activities. One is tasks and containers. Right? Yeah. Task means any. See, for example, I can add this one. I can execute this. I can execute this. Right click on it and then execute the task. It is executed. Add one more task. At any point of time, you can execute only one task individually, right? But I want to execute all the tasks. Execute the package. Right click on the package, select the option, execute package option. That is what exactly I mentioned over here. Just read it now. A unit of work which can be executed as an individual or as part of the package. That's nothing but a task. Are we good now? Amrita and all, are we good now?
Yes, sir.
Right. Even container can also be executed. Ex- Container can also be executed. For example, I want to place them within the container. Right click on the container, execute container. Same concept can be applicable. Yes. Right. Okay. Right. Next point. I hope you are clear now, Amrita, Harika.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. Okay. Good. Sir, I have Krishna River and this is my home. Do you think Krishna River water is ready to drink? No, it has so many impurities. Do you think Krishna River water is directly coming to my home? No, it's not possible. So, River water comes to a reservoir first. Reservoir first. How Krishna River water comes to reservoir through Wi-Fi? No, there should be a pipeline, right? So Krishna River water is a raw water. It's not useful for drinking, and you retrieve the pipeline the water from Krishna River to reservoir, and in reservoir you apply some chlorination activities to avoid unwanted bacteria. Filtered water will be distributed to all the homes available in the city. So you tell me now, can I consider it as my source system where we have the raw data, right? Source system, and then this is my pipeline, and this is my transformation area, and this is my pipeline, and this is my destination. So you select the extract the source data, extracted data is getting transformed through the pipeline. Okay. So this is also a pipeline. What is flowing over here? What is flowing through the pipeline? Water. But here, this is also a pipeline. What's flowing here? What is flowing here?
Data.
Data.
Data. That's the reason we call it as data flow pipeline. Data is flowing from source to transformation, transformation to destination via these particular pipelines. What is that now? Data flow pipeline engine describes from where you are trying to extracting the data sources, how the extracted data is getting transformed, transformations. Finally, where are we going to load the data? Loading. So it contains, first one, it contains data flow sources, data flow transformations, data flow destinations. From source, what do? We extract the business data. Using transformations, we apply the transformations. And this one is loading. So tell me now, where do we perform the actual ETL process? In which tab? Control flow or data flow? Tell me now.
Data flow.
Data
Data.
flow tab. Data flow tab. But let me remove this. Currently, where are we now? Currently, where are we now? Control
Control flow.
control flow, yes. If I navigate from control flow to data flow, it's going to scold you, hey, you are trying to enter into the theater without having ticket. Without having ticket, how can you enter into the theater? That's a violation. So you can't navigate from control flow to data flow without having data flow task. No data flow tasks have been added to this package. Click here to add a new data flow task. So data flow task is the favorite task. And then go to here. It doesn't show any error messages and it contains the sources. Use one or more data flow sources. Data flow sources. Use one or more data flow sources to extract the data from files and databases. Yesterday, if you remember, we was discussing about a scenario. Vinay Tech was having multiple branches. Hyderabad branch details are in the form of Excel, right? And Oracle from Bangalore and Teradata from Chennai. Okay. So now this, so we use one or more source systems to extract the data and then use data flow transformations to modify and aggregate the data. The data flow is not required to have include transformations, right? Every data flow task doesn't require transformation. Sometimes we go for direct dumping from A to B. A is nothing but source, B is nothing but the destination. And finally, use one or more data flow destinations to load the data into data storages. What are the storages here? Files and databases. So let me add it. This is my source system. Come on. This is my source system. And here, this is my transformation. And finally, this is my destination system. But how source data comes to transformation area? Using a pipeline called this one. So here, this is the data flow path or data flow pipeline. Both are same. Double click on this data flow path where the data flows from upstream to downstream all the way. Are we good on it? See here now. ETL. So tell me now, where can we prepare the actual ETL process in control flow data flow? Control flow data flow. Hello guys.
Data flow.
Right. Data flow. Right. So that is about the core components of SSIS. And the next one is connection manager. Sir, I'm in Hyderabad and my parents are from Elo. For example, I call them. When I dialed in, connection has been established and conversation is going on between my parents and myself. You tell me who provided the connectivity between my parents and myself? Network providers. So do you think there is a wire between Hyderabad and Elur? No. So do you think a connection manager is a logical or a physical? Hello guys.
Logical.
Logical. So connection manager is a logical connectivity between any application and database or file system. It can be and as well file systems. When I say file systems, .xl, Excel, CSV, .txt, XML, etc. Okay. Sir, what is the connection manager? Can you please explain with an example? Connection manager for SQL Server, right? Connection manager for SQL Server. Now, sir, now, sir, SQL Server. What are the things that we need to provide to get connected to the server? Data source is nothing but, data source is nothing but SQL Server name. Initial catalog is nothing but a database name provider. Who are all the network providers available in India? Airtel, Aircel, BSNL, Vodafone, Tata Sky, all these things, right? Network providers. So here also provides connectivity between any two applications and databases, right? Yeah. What is the default provider for SQL Server? SQL Server NCLI 11.0 means SQL Server native client 11.0, which is a default provider for SQL Server. N means native, client CLI. Of course, sometimes we get connected to Excel files or CSV files. So in that case, how do we handle it? So connection manager for file systems, right? So here, shared location or else path of the files where the files are located. That's all. So this is your connection manager. This is your connection manager. For example, right click here to create to add a new connection manager to the new SSIS package. Right click new OLEDB connection. See, these are the existing connections that I have been using for my previous sessions. Data source is equal to server name. Initial catalog is equal to database name. And provider is equal to SQL Server native client 11.1 or 0 is also fine. Exactly similar. Yes, guys. Do you have any questions, Amma? Do you have any questions?
No.
Yes, that is the total end-to-end SSIS architecture diagram. I'm going to open the actual original diagram. Okay. Sir, this yellow portion is nothing but SSIS runtime engine. So that's nothing but SSIS runtime engine handles all the activities of our control flow and event handlers of a package, right? event handlers, and control flow. It contains tasks and containers. Container itself is having the tasks again, and it also handles connection managers. Okay, so yellow portion is completely talking about SSIS runtime engine. Whenever the data flow task occurs, immediately the control jump to data flow tab where you can see data flow sources, transformations, and destinations. Data flow components, what we call it as source components, transformation components, and destination components. So this is how the total SSIS architecture works. I'm going to share this material with you today for your reference purpose. So I'm done, guys. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it. So I'm going to stop the recording.